This is a topic that's often oversimplified, so it's worth slowing it down. Raw cacao is frequently grouped together with chocolate, but nutritionally and metabolically, they are not the same thing. While both originate from the cacao bean, the way they are processed determines whether they function more like a nutrient dense food or a sweetened indulgence. Understanding this difference begins with processing. Raw cacao refers to cocoa that has undergone minimal processing. This typically means lower temperatures, less alkalization, and fewer added ingredients. Because of this, raw cacao retains more of its naturally occurring compounds. These include minerals such as magnesium and iron, as well as flavanols and polyphenols. These compounds are discussed in research related to circulation, oxidative stress, and nervous system balance. However, their presence is not guaranteed simply because a product contains cocoa. Most commercial chocolate products are processed very differently. High heat, extensive refinement, alkalization, and the addition of sugars and emulsifiers significantly alter the original composition of the cacao bean. While these processes improve taste, texture, and shelf stability, they also reduce the concentration of many naturally occurring compounds. As a result, chocolate and raw cacao behave very differently in the body, despite sharing a common origin. This is why the health discussion around cacao is often confusing. People may associate chocolate with potential benefits they've heard about cacao without realizing that processing has changed the nutritional context entirely. The issue is not the cacao bean itself, but how far the final product has moved away from its original form. Seen this way, cacao is better understood as a spectrum rather than a single category. Another important factor to consider is portion size. Raw cacao is calorie dense even in its minimally processed form. Its potential benefits are related to nutrient density, not volume. Small amounts may contribute minerals and polyphenols, while excessive intake simply adds calories without additional advantage. This distinction matters when cacao is discussed in the context of metabolic health. From a metabolic perspective, raw cacao is sometimes mentioned because flavanols are studied for their role in circulation and insulin sensitivity. However, these effects are subtle and context dependent. Raw cacao is not a glucose-lowering supplement, and it does not override dietary patterns, physical activity, or medical care. Its role, if present at all, is supportive rather than corrective. It is also important to acknowledge individual variability. Some people tolerate cacao well, while others may notice digestive discomfort, stimulation, or sleep disruption, particularly when consumed later in the day. This can be influenced by caffeine-like compounds naturally present in cacao, as well as overall sensitivity. Understanding personal response is more important than following generalized advice. When cacao is evaluated through this lens, it becomes neither a superfood nor a problem food. Instead, it becomes an example of how food quality, processing, and context shape outcomes. The same ingredient can support health in one form and undermine it in another. This principle extends beyond cacao and applies broadly across nutrition and supplementation. With that context in mind, raw cacao can be understood as a nutrient-dense food ingredient whose value depends on how it is processed, how much is used, and how it fits within the wider lifestyle. That is the core framework to hold when thinking about cacao, rather than focusing on labels, trends, or simplified claims. Seen this way, raw cacao becomes less about indulgence or hype and more about understanding food quality within a larger system.